Our next witness is Father Salvatore de George, a Catholic priest with the Missionary Oblates of Mary Immaculate, who has spent decades serving Houston's immigrant and working class communities. Throughout his ministry, including as pastor of St. Patrick Catholic Church, Father Salvatore has provided pastoral care and support to families navigating hardship and uncertainty. We appreciate his willingness to join us today to offer his perspective on the human impact of immigration enforcement and the importance of dignity, compassion, and justice. Thank you, Father.
Thank you very much, everyone, for the invitation. And thank you, Congressman, for not bringing up that I'm old. And also, the question I was asked to poll the people about in our area, I'm in a parish that really encompasses the area where Lorenzo was shot and killed. So my task was to poll the people. I polled about 30 people once in a group of 9 and asked them what is different now that they have seen this violence. And this is mostly what I've culled from it. I have a text, but I'm going to stray a little bit, which is dangerous, but whatever. He also did not mention that I'm a second-generation immigrant Sicilian. I am immigrant stock and very proud of it. So some of this touches me personally. First of all, what has changed? Fear. ISIS moves were anecdotal to the people here, and they were also what they gathered from the papers and media, social media. But now they're no longer at a distance. They're here in the neighborhood, right in the neighborhood, Wayside and Macario Garcia, someone shot and killed without reason. So it's local now. So their fear is intensified. It's like a free floating fear of everything. Can I go to the store? Can I go to the hospital? Everything. Can I go to church? Can I go pick up the kids? Free floating fear, which is a terrible situation because then you're crippled in life when you walk with that. And not only the regular free floating fear of being deported, fear of being killed, which is a terrible fear to walk with also. Lawlessness. Example, an Mexican-American person, citizen, sends her husband off to work. He's picked up on the job. He has a working permit, a social security number, and is in line to be a resident. Picked up, put in detention. She finds out where he is, Port Isabel. She gets an appointment to go see him. When she arrives, he is not there for the appointment. He's been dumped in Chiapas, Oaxaca, down in that area, far from his native place in Guerrero. Lawlessness is frightening. There's no protection. Violence breeds violence. The people who are organizing this, both the president and the head of Stephen Miller, both of them are fostering violence by racial remarks and actions. So when we see that, it wipes off on the people who enforce the law. So their actions are sponsoring violence. And now in our neighborhood, if someone comes with a car and brings you to the curb with no uniforms on in an unmarked car, and they come in with violent motives, we call that a carjacking. You carjack in anybody's neighborhood, and if a person in the car has a weapon, perhaps, that person will violently defend themselves. That sets off a whole domino effect of terrible, terrible consequences. And if you don't believe it in our neighborhoods, look at the Moody Park riot in 1978. That's what you provoke. And the fact of the matter is our people are seeing that violence is being provoked, which is not one of the places where the government should be present. Point in question: the people in the parish, they feel like they're less than very often by what goes on. They've been told, if you do anything wrong, you will be hunted down. Let's talk about hunting an animal. Christy Noam in the airports until she was fired. So when we see that, we look at the aggression, fostering aggression, and it's a terrible situation. The legacy of the good man who was killed, his sons who spoke so valiantly and also spoke at the session with the union members, they must be full of terrible grief and rage at what happens. Well, what happens when we find ourselves in terrible grief and rage? We have to find a place to direct that. Your good Mexican American children and grandchildren. You said your grandmother told you to do something. Isn't that right? Well, get it done. Your dad has left a legacy of a beautiful family and a legacy of homes built in Houston by him and his crew. That's a beautiful legacy. But there's another legacy that we, the groups I spoke with, said, we want another legacy for them. And that legacy is the same legacy that was affected when Vanessa Guillen, by her family, who stuck with it, who turned the rage and the terrible, deep sense of loss and guilt, they turned that into what? They turned that into a dogged fight for justice. So much so that the people in the parish said, wouldn't it be great if one of these days we had the name of Lorenzo Salgado Arujo, if we would have his name shining in the stars of heaven like the names of Vanessa Guillen, Sandra Bland, Rosa Parks, and others, that the legacy also be a profound legacy of justice that we can remember and that will make you so proud. The blood of your father would water that beautiful tree of justice, just like the blood of Christians watered the beautiful Christian of your faith. And lastly, the people of the parish, their faith. Surprisingly, their faith is still very strong. They believe in a loving and protective God that walks with them. They believe in the Blessed Mother, whom they have such a profound devotion to. The Blessed Mother who was hunted down, like they have witnessed being hunted down by Herod to protect her child. Now, their faith is very strong, but one of the little nuances on their faith that I've noticed is they've used evidently an anecdotal thing that our Islamic brothers and sisters quote all the time. They say, see, yes, trust God, but tie up your camel. They're very, very careful to be careful not to get chosen for death or for deportation, but they still have a dogged devotion, and their faith is still in the gracious, loving God who walks with them and the compassionate mother to whom they are so devoted. Lastly,
Thank
at
you.
one of the rallies, as you work with this work of justice, recall the words that were cited at the last rally that we were at together, the two sons from Plato. Remember that we have to get involved. The price of apathy towards public affairs, says Plato, is to be ruled by evil men. 400 years before Christ. There you have it. lastly, I'd really like to thank all of the persons here that are sponsoring this. Sometimes I think that perhaps you're working out a different mindset than I am. I think the world has been insane after 87 years. Insane. The problem is we don't always realize that the patients have taken over. The patients have taken over. So if you think you're going to deal with that situation in a rational, moral way, they have no moral conscience. They are working out of occultic, invincible ignorance, and that's difficult to work with. So thank you for your presence and good luck with what you're trying to do. But if you get the wrong perspective on who you're working with, who knows what that's going to do. Pardon me, I've
Thank
gone
you,
over time.
Father.